Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Dolidze versus Hernandez. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the card. Alright, we scroll on down. First fight we have in the women's flyweight division, we got Gabriela Fernandez versus Julija Stoliarenko. And how do I feel about this fight right here? I'm going average confidence Gabriela Fernandez to beat Julija Stoliarenko. So without a doubt, Fernandez is a much tougher, much better striker as well. Like just the overall tougher fighter, and just flat out, just a way better striker than Stoliarenko. Stoliarenko does have a grappling advantage if she can get it there and if she can utilize that. But it seems like Stoliarenko's best chance is, hopefully she goes all out, gets the takedown, and gets a sub. That's in my confidence. I say for Fernandez, average confidence to beat Stoliarenko. So if I didn't say that already, Fernandez, average confidence to beat Stoliarenko. So yeah, I feel like Stoliarenko's best chance is just to go all out. Hope to, land something, maybe clip her and get it to the ground, or a slip or something like that. Perfect opportunity. Like she gets a takedown, she gets a clip. Just any type of way to fight ends on the ground. She get it there early, or maybe Fernandez drops her early and Stoliarenko is able to attack a submission off her back. But it gotta be something early. I feel for Stoliarenko, it gotta be a perfect scenario, and it gotta be early as well. Which again falls to that perfect scenario. I feel for Stoliarenko. Or yeah, but I feel like Fernandez has shown improvement in that area in her game, in her grappling department. And again, she's just a much better striker. And I think she stops Stoliarenko via TKO in the second round. So I think she's going to be able to address the grappling Stoliarenko. I think she's just too big, too strong. And she's improving in technically as far as her grappling skills. So I think she'll be able to address Stoliarenko's grappling. And then the gap between their striking is just way too big. I think Fernandez is going to be able to put her away. I think Stoliarenko's going to be able to, she's going to have to respect the grappling early for a bit. Like, so she's not going to go out there and just overcommit on her strikes and end up on the bottom. So she's going to be picking her shots. So she's not going to be forcing nothing. But she's still going to be doing big damage to Stoliarenko. She's just not going to fully commit to the point where she could get the stoppage easier or quicker, but risk giving up, giving Stoliarenko the opportunity to get it to the ground. So she's going to be picking her shots better early. And then once you start to see Stoliarenko start to wilt, she's going to see in that second round, she's going to put her away early in that second round again. She could put her away in the first, but I feel like she's going to pick her shots a little bit in the first round and then really go for it in the second round. So in this one, I have Gabriela Fernandez via second round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the welterweight division, we got Ursk Madich versus Gilbert Erbena. And how do I feel about this one right here? I'm going low confidence Ursk Madich to beat Gilbert Erbena. Yeah, I can't put great confidence in either of these guys. Neither of these guys is very trustworthy, but I will pick Madich to win here. I do think that Madich is the more technical striker. Erbena might be the bigger fighter, but he never has really used his size very well in any fight. I can say, oh, he used his size and his length so well to strike here, or he used his size so well here to grapple here. Can't really say that. And definitely can't say he did it successfully against anybody any bit respectable as far as in the current scope of things. So I think Madich is the quicker, more technical striker here. What should I say about this fight? I think it's one of these sloppy fights. It could go either way. I could see Erbena having grappling success, but just don't have this full skill to really get any great ground and pound off or any great submission attempts. I can see that happening at points in this fight. And I also can see Ursk Madich just being a quicker and faster fighter, being able to clip Erbena at points and being able to tag him up at points, and then Erbena go for sloppy takedowns, but Sam, gets him because he's the larger man, former middleweight and whatnot. And I see this fight, could easily see this fight going to an ugly split decision. And that's actually what I'm going to predict. I think Madich wins. I think he's the more effective fighter throughout. But I do think that Erbena does make it an awkward fight, and that makes it close and controversial maybe a little bit. And I see Madich getting a split decision victory over Erbena here. So in this one, I have Ursk Madich via decision. Now to our next fight we have in the bantamweight division, we got Jocelyn Edwards versus Priscilla Kakawera. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going low confidence Jocelyn Edwards to beat Priscilla Kakawera. Edwards is just a more well-rounded fighter. Kakawera really has not shown any great evolution in her grappling. Has still been one big weak area in her game. She does got big power. Edwards got to respect that, but I think Edwards will be the bigger, younger fighter here. The more dynamic fighter, being able to use her length for her kicks as well as her punches, and her striking is coming along well. She used to not have a whole lot of power in her punches. Like she's definitely getting a lot more power in her punches. Not to say she's a power puncher just yet, but she's definitely hurting and finishing opponents with her punches as well now. So something to respect from Edwards. But I'll say Edwards will be able to mix up, use her long kicks, use her punches as well. All those things getting respect to Kakawera, and also being able to mix in the grappling as well. I could see a submission or TKO finish for Edwards here, but I'll say decision. I think Kakawera is a very tough fighter, especially when we first saw her. For most people, it was her fight against Valentina Shevchenko. So one thing Kakawera has always been is tough. And it's not like Edwards is this proven finisher, like consistent finisher. So I don't think she's gonna be able to put away Kakawera. I just think she's gonna be an outpointer, mixing the takedowns, outgrind her, and beat her by decision here. So in this one, I have Jocelyn Edwards via decision. Now, for our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, we got Elijah Smith versus Toshiomi Kazama. And how do I feel about this one right here? I'm going low confidence Elijah Smith to beat Toshiomi Kazama. I'm going to say I'll go first round TKO for Elijah Smith. But I do feel like he's not a very trustworthy guy. Like, I know a lot of people are looking at him like, oh, this guy could be a bright prospect. He could be this, he could be that and stuff. He's very young. He's already so well-rounded. But, sometimes they have a lot of talent, but a lot of times these people you can see the prospect in them, and you can see the choke in them as well. Like, yes, you're winning, but you should never have been in that situation in this fight. You barely got past this guy. Like, yeah, I see the skill, but I don't see a guy that's, like, right now has shown me the guy that's, I can see this guy down the line is a potential title challenger, potential champion, or a guy that's potentially in the mix. I see this guy that's probably going to find a way to choke at several points in his career, maybe for a long career, like 10 years further in his career, still choking like he gets this. He always loses by overhand right or something, or he always gets caught in the dark. Like, this a guy that just falls into a pattern where he just always chokes in big moments, or just chokes and can't get past a certain point. But we'll see. But right now, I definitely do have my concerns about him. But I do feel like he's a well-rounded enough fighter, and he does got heart. Like I said, it's some mental things I'm feeling there, some IQ things here and there, but he does got heart. He does got skill. I think he's a better fighter. I think he's a better wrestler. I think he's a better striker here. And Kazama, and also he doesn't have wrestling background, so he should be able to address the takedowns of Kazama, and he should be able to keep the fight where he has the biggest advantage is on the feet. And again, if it goes to ground, I think he'll be good there as well. But again, I think the biggest advantage is on the feet, so I think he'll be able to use his wrestling defensively, be to pick apart Kazama on the feet and put him out in the first round. So in this one, I have Elijah Smith via first round KO. Now to our next fight, we have in the light heavyweight division, we got Julius Walker versus Rafael Sakaria. And how do I feel about this one right here? I'm going average confidence Julius Walker to beat Rafael Sakaria. Average confidence Walker. I think he puts away Sakaria in the first round. I think Sakaria is coming off first round or either way he got knocked out brutally in back-to-back fights. And I think Walker's going to be able to follow suit and put him out in the first round as well. I think Walker has amazing upside to him. I look at him as a promising fighter, and I think he's going to put on a promising performance when he fights Sakaria and puts him out in the first round. And also, though he won his debut fight, but again, it is what it is. But either way, I think Walker's just a better overall fighter. And it definitely doesn't help Sakaria that he's coming off 2 first-round knockout losses. And I think, again, Walker's going to put him out again in the first round via TKO. So in this one, I got Julius Walker via first round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the middleweight division, we got Eric Anders versus Christian Leroy Duncan. And how do I feel about this one right here? I'm going low confidence Christian Leroy Duncan to beat Eric Anders. Eric Anders is a veteran, pretty well-rounded. Got a lot of power. This fight could definitely be tricky, but I think Christian Leroy Duncan is very dynamic on the feet. I think he'll be able to address the big overhands and big right hands from Anders. And like I said, Anders is a tough veteran, but he can be very predictable. Like, his shot selection isn't varied. That's what it is. His striking selection is not varied much. He'll throw a couple big punches, kind of stalk you. His range is very limited. Like, where the range where he's looking to land from. Like, he's dangerous from that range, but his options are very limited. He don't really have great counters. Pretty much it's a fighter that's, a big concern if you're on the back foot and he's loading up on you. Or if you're walking in with your your hands down and your chin up, he'll crack you on that. But you got a good high guard, stick him on a good jab, and, maintain the range well, and you got at least somewhat of a decent head movement, you can be a big issue for him to find you. Because, again, like, he don't mix it up that well. He don't throw you off very much. And Christian Leroy Duncan, much longer, much more dynamic. Got a lot of long kicks, long jabs, good array of elbows as well, good in the clinch. But again, I think Anders, experience and his physicality and his power as well, going to make this a tough fight, because easily seeing this a split decision. Can also see either guy getting stopped, but I do favor Duncan here. I think he'll be able to, again, mix it up better in the clinch with his elbows, use his kicks at range, use his longer strikes, have the better footwork. Be the younger fighter. I think I would say Edwards, but Anders is like probably pushing 40, 38 years old versus 30-year-old Duncan. Again, Duncan is 6'2", so he's 1 inch taller. He has a 4-inch reach advantage, so he's younger by 8 years. Has like a 4-inch reach advantage and a 1-inch height advantage. I think he'll use all those things to beat Anders. I think it's a competitive scrap. I think it goes the distance, but I think Leroy Duncan will probably outland him by like 30 significant strikes. Well, I'm not going to say 30. Probably about 30 total strikes, probably about 15 significant. Yeah, he'll outland him by 15 significant, but in total, he'll probably land him by 30. Outland him by 30. Not land 30, but outland him by 30. And I see him beat Anders by decision. I don't think it's going to be a split decision. I think it's going to be competitive, but I think it will be a unanimous decision for Duncan. So, in this one, I got Christian Leroy Duncan via decision. Now to our next fight. We have in the bantamweight division, we got Miles Johns versus John Masimoto. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going average confidence, John Masimoto to beat Miles Johns. Yeah, I think Miles Johns is a solid fighter. He's definitely a solid fighter. But I think Masimoto will be able to address his grappling. I just think that Masimoto is just a much more dynamic striker, will be quicker, sharper on the feet. And I think he'll be able to beat him by decision. I don't think it's going to be an easy fight. I think it's going to be a close fight. Could easily say it's been a split decision. But I am pretty confident in Masimoto to be able to get it done. Just be more dynamic, be more active, be more versatile, and be able to beat Johns by decision here. So, in this one, I got John Masimoto via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the featherweight division, we got Andre Fili versus Christian Rodriguez. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going average confidence, Christian Rodriguez to beat Andre Fili. I just feel like Andre Fili kind of riding a little bit of bad momentum. I feel like he kind of just choked, no, not choked, but he kind of just gave up his last fight, which Rodriguez has been battling in all his fights, win, lose, or draw. They both coming off losses, Mel Quazel Costa, but Rodriguez's fight could easily win his way. I know I picked Costa and I won money off Costa, but it could easily win Rodriguez's way as well. It's a very close fight. And yeah, I think Rodriguez is going to be more dynamic, more active, and I just think he's going to win it more. I feel like Fili, they're both solid guys, but I feel like Fili at this point, I just think he's fighting for a check. Like, he's still training, he still probably loves it, but he, in the back of his head, he probably realized, like, I'm not championship material, and, he just stick around, like, he just doing for the love of the game. Whereas Rodriguez, I don't think he's no championship material either, but, he's still younger in the game, still improving, still hungry, and you still see him battling for every inch, where I feel like Fili at times in fights, you do see him, like, mentally check out, and you have seen that at multiple points in his career, like, early on in his career, mid in his career, and then just his last fight. So I just feel like Rodriguez is going to win it more, going to scramble harder, going to throw harder. And when it comes down to it, who can I trust more to dig deep and look for the win more? It's going to be Rodriguez. So, but yeah, I can see submission for Rodriguez here. But I think I will go submission. I think it's going to be a club and sub second round. Good scrap. I think Fili probably going to have a little mental lapse. Rodriguez probably going to clip him. When Fili tries to stand back to his feet, Rodriguez probably going to jump on a guillotine and tap him out in the second round. So, in this one, I got Christian Rodriguez via second round submission. Now to our next fight we have in the strawweight division, we got Iasmin Lucindo versus Angela Hill. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going low confidence Angela Hill to beat Iasmin Lucindo. And at this point, I still feel like average confidence, not average. I mean low confidence Angela Hill to beat Lucindo. Yeah, she's only 23 years old. Hill is kind of up there in age at 40. But Hill, same height. Lucindo had a little bit of reach, but yeah, I don't feel like Lucindo is such a great offensive grappler, and Hill has been working a lot in that area, and I still feel like Hill is the more dynamic striker. Lucindo probably does have more power than Lucindo. Lucindo probably does have more power than Hill in punches, but Lucindo has not shown to be no great power puncher, has not shown to be no great submission artist. She's kind of just like a great young talent who hasn't really hit her puberty yet as far as a fighter yet. And she definitely could be taking smarter fights, but it is what it is. Like, at the end of the day, a loss ain't the end of the day. Like, unless you take a real bad loss where you get it knocked out and you get it choked out and you get it slammed on your head. So, Lucindo could definitely still evolve into a great fighter. And hey, she can still win this fight. This is a very close fight on paper. But I do feel like this is the type of fight where Hill thrives. She's getting a very young fighter who's taking a very big step up. And really has not shown nothing so great against elite competition just yet. And again, I feel like Hill can address her grappling. I feel like Hill's a much better striker than Lucindo to this point right now. I think she's going to be able to brutalize her in the clinch, land knees to the body. Also, in Lucindo's last fight, she didn't really show no great urgency when she got taken down. So that's another thing. So I'm not going to say great, but a solid young prospect in Lucindo, but still has a lot of learning to do. And she just really has not shown, and at points has shown a lack of urgency, and I feel like Hill could capitalize on her. So a young fighter who is not really is tested yet and can show bouts of inactivity and lack of urgency. Again, it's not a big puncher, not some great wrestler, not no great submission artist as far as a threat for Hill. So a fight that highly likely will go the distance. And Hill can look to, again, she's been in the, matter of fact, all the Hill's fights for the most part, like 90% of them are close to decision. So Hill's has been there, done that a bazillion times. So the fight that's shaping up to be is a Hill type fight. So Hill's probably going to be able to, like, milk the clinch, land a bunch of knees to the body, a bunch of little punches in the clinch. Probably be a bunch of takedown battles in there. A good striking battle. And it's one of those fights where it's going to come down to who wants it more and who's better able to, pile up the points and win the majority of the minutes and be able to, win the point battle. And that's a Hill type fight. And I think Hill's going to be able to thrive here. And when you look at the fights that Hill has really lost in the past 5 years, it's really been to either ranked fighters, like legit ranked fighters, or, legit ranked fighters, or like fighters, other veterans like her. When she fights these young prospects, like pretty much 9 times out of 10 or 90, she had like she had like an 80 or 90% success rate. So this is the type of fight she does love to thrive in. I think she'll be able to thrive here again and get a decision victory over Lucindo. So in this fight, I have Angela Hill via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, we got Steve Ursk versus Ode Osborne. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going average confidence Steve Ursk to beat Ode Osborne. So it was cool and all that Osborne got that win over a Contender Series fighter. But it's back to reality now. Like, I think he'd still be live. I'm not counting him out by no means. It's not no high. It's not no lock. And I heard somebody say, oh, my average is my middle confidence picks. It's not. Like, average is my second to least confident pick. But I still have a good success, like a great success rate at average confidence. But it's not my middle. It's the lower middle. Because high is the upper middle. And then lock is the top. So it's not exactly the middle confidence. Even though I'm talking too much. I'm yapping way too much. But yeah, I do have a lock. I'm not saying on this card, but my confidence levels are low, average, high, and lock. There's 4 levels, not 3. But average confidence is Ursk, and I'm definitely respecting Osborne. But I think Ursk will have, passed up that hole in his game. And you can see the areas where Osborne's going to look to try to exploit. And I think he'll be able to do a good job of shutting those options down for Osborne. I definitely think Ursk has the better gas tank. I think Ursk is tougher. And also I think Ursk is more well-rounded and for better competition, more experienced. And I think Ursk will be able to mix it up. Probably when Osborne look for these overhands, probably be able to time them, duck under, take them down to the ground if he needs to, and not leave him chin up there as much. And I'll go for submission. Ursk has an underrated ground game, and Osborne at points has definitely shown questionable cardio, questionable wrestling at points. And I think Ursk is going to do a good job on the feet, touching Osborne up. And they're going to have a good fill-out process. But I still think Ursk is going to win the striking battle as well. But I think where he's going to finish this fight is on the ground. I think it'll be the time Osborne's overhand and bait it out of him, duck under to get him to the ground, and then have a big advantage on the ground once he gets him there. And I see a second-round submission for Ursk. So in this fight, I have Steve Ursk via second-round submission. Now to our main event. We have in the middleweight division, we got Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Hernandez. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going low confidence. Yeah, low confidence. Roman Dolidze to beat Anthony Hernandez. Hernandez has a whole lot of momentum right now. Win, 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 win. Dolidze has found himself on a winning streak, but it's not a 5-fight win streak just yet. But I got Dolidze here. I think Hernandez is a solid fighter, but I feel like, in one way he has evolved as a fighter, and overall he has evolved as a fighter. He's the best fighter he's ever been by far as for himself. But I feel like his striking has definitely declined a lot. I feel like, or at least it plateaued. Because I haven't really seen no great offensive striking. Definitely not. His power feel like it's not really there as much. It's more so just like he'll get in your face, he'll throw some punches, and maybe throw some knees, but it's not really so much effective. It's like, it's a danger. It's just the takedown is coming there. So people be so worried about the takedown that he lets his hand out. It's really just volume. It's not really a threat, a big threat as far as the striking. It's just the presence of volume along with the grappling threat. If you get what I mean. Like, where in the past, like, he was, it was a concern, I can't be caught by this, I can't be caught by that. Like, I don't really want to be hit by this guy. But right now, like, I can let this guy punch me 100 times. I really don't care. It's that takedown I'm worried about because I want to be underneath him, getting smothered all around. I'll take a couple shots and I'll probably try to dig to his body, counter him or something. Like, I'll eat those shots. But, like, you get what I'm trying to say right now. His strikes are, like, they're effective, but they're really kind of empty. It's like no real threat behind them. Dolidze, his striking is sloppier than Hernandez. Or yes, Hernandez striking not sloppy. There's just no real threat behind him. They're just kind of just there to set up the takedowns. Now is what I'm saying. Or yeah, or they're there to set up the takedown, or dare to capitalize off the respect that the takedown gets. But it's not like he gets the respect of the takedown and he's cracking you and dropping you or with any real intent behind his shots, punches. And yeah, again, I said a bunch of different ways, but you get my drift. Dolidze striking is sloppy, but there's a threat. Like, I don't want to be hit by this big muscle bound guy. Like, he can crack you on the feet and hurt you. Like, it's a real legit, very real finishing threat by Dolidze on the feet. Even though he doesn't really have no TKLs or don't have very many TKLs on the feet, especially in the UFC, he had to get like one or two. He does have a lot of power. He's a big muscle bound guy. Like, there's a real threat on the feet. Then the main thing as far as my prediction here is why I'm leading Dolidze. Low confidence, obviously, is that Hernandez, as great of a grappler as he has turned into, in a lot of fights, look at the his last fight, I think. What's that guy named? Allen. At points, he was dominating grappling for the majority of the fight, but he would still, I guess, get swept at points. At some points, he'll get too happy with his success on ground. He'll kind of jump position or get a little eager, and he'll end up on bottom. And again, all these guys have been lesser grapplers than Dolidze. So Dolidze, one thing he is, he's very tough and very durable. He's big. He hits hard. He does have surprisingly good conditioning. His conditioning has gotten a lot better. And I would say he's the better grappler than Hernandez, especially in pure grappling. Like, he can hit you with submissions off his back. He's dangerous, has a very active guard. He hits very good sweeps. Hernandez has already shown that he can get swept by lesser grapplers. And Barriault is probably the worst case of it. Like, he got swept by Barriault at one point in his fight because he got too overzealous and got put on bottom. I think he spent like a half the round on bottom against Barriault. Like, Barrault's not a scrub, but that's not a guy you should be spending a minute on bottom against. Like, you should not be getting swept by him. You should not be spending like a minute, 2 minutes on bottom against him. I know the fight was dominant. You were spiking him on his head. You were doing what you want, but that's at no point should you have let him get on top of you and then spend like 2 minutes there. And even in Allen fight, Allen's a solid grappler, much better than Barriault. But still, when he got reversed, like, he did spend a good chunk of time underneath Allen. And Dolidze is a much more advantageous, much more skilled submission artist than Allen. Much better off his back, much better on top. And he can submit you on top or on bottom in a lot of different ways. So Dolidze is definitely a much dangerous person. And I could definitely see Dolidze getting done. And I could definitely see him getting done in this. Again, not a lock, not a high, not an average or low confidence pick here. But I think Dolidze will be able to be the more effective striker as far as damage. And also, I think he'll be able to capitalize on Hernandez's tendency to get swept or give up top position and end up on bottom because he tries to jump for position or he gets a little bit too caught up in things. And, you know, I probably like, it's a habit that probably comes from rolling a lot because you feel like, you know, you just rolling from position to position, so you're not as heavy on top as you should be. You like to float on top a little bit, and you float a little bit too much, and that ends up with you being on bottom. And, you know, in practice, you don't get punched in the face, or even in the fights, a lot of times when you're grappling, you don't get punched in the face, or you don't really feel like it's a concern as much. But again, against a guy like Dolidze, that could be a death sentence. And we saw that happen with, what's his name, Hernandez against Dolidze. Like, he was actually outstriking Dolidze pretty comfortably, but he felt the need to keep mixing and grappling with Dolidze, and then he got reversed, put in the press on him, and his head pounded in. Like, you can't be playing too much. And I feel like Hernandez does get too playful in there. He's a little bit too comfortable in there. And even against Dolidze fight where he got picked apart by Imaivov, at one point in their fight, after getting digged in the body, you know, looked like he's about to get put out of there several times, he still was able to get like a good sweep there in the fourth round, like, and had good control for a little bit before Imaivov was able to get back to his feet, like. So even like when he don't look like he got nothing left, like, he's still very dangerous. Even like in that, again, the Hernandez fight, it's like he's about to lose a decision. Like, he's still, if you play around on the ground, you would make a mistake like Hernandez has multiple times, but has not been made to pay for it. He will be able to end the fight very quick, whether it be by submission or put you in a press and pound your head in. So I think it'll be a good competitive scrap, probably a very close fight. But I think Hernandez will make grappling mistakes, get a little bit too comfortable in there, leave that opening, and Dolidze will fully capitalize, and I think he'll be able to submit Hernandez. And I'm going to say third round submission for Roman Dolidze. So in this fight, I got Roman Dolidze via third round submission. And so that concludes my fight predictions for the four-quarter fights for UFC Fight Night, Dolidze versus Hernandez. So once again, that concludes my fight predictions for the four-quarter fights for UFC Fight Night, Dolidze versus Hernandez. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.